So when I'm ready to start painting my still life, what I want to first of all think about is where my light source is coming from. So what I want to think about is which side is the light going to be hitting against my vase here. So if it's coming this way, this side of my vase is going to be the lighter side, and then not as much light on this side, so that's going to be the darker side. So what I'm going to be using is the watercolor technique of the graded wash, which remember is where you start with a more intense color on one side, and then as you add more water, it gradually gets lighter and lighter in value. So what you want to start with is your pencil lines are going to be a little bit dark right now. We don't want those to show through our watercolors because the watercolors are so transparent. So you want to come through and erase these lines so that you don't really see them anymore, because otherwise they're going to show through your watercolors and it looks a little bit muddy. So we're just going to go ahead, this is going to be for my little drape down here. I'm going to show you how to do that too. All right, so now I'm ready to do my painting. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get quite a bit of color on my brush, and I want to start off, and I kind of want to go in like that, a little bit of a curved motion, just so that I'm getting that idea of the roundness of the vase. We want to kind of see that dimension, and kind of doing those rounder strokes will help with that. So now I'm just going to come kind of back through. I've got a nice clean edge, so now I can kind of come back through, add in some of this more intense color here. You're going to want to work fairly quickly because you do want to work while it's still wet, in order for it to really not have to get that gradual change. You don't want it to be too wet, otherwise it's going to start to kind of pool, and we don't want that pooling look. So I'm just going to kind of keep going, dabbing my brush so that it doesn't get too wet and pool. And I want to try and make it as gradual of a change as possible, so I don't want to see a bunch of like stripes down the middle of where we're changing the color. Okay, so now I'm really going to be coming out with the lightest part here. I feel like I need a little bit of color but a lot of water, so I'm going to kind of dab it on up here. Get a nice soft edge over here. So now you can kind of see how this side's the more lighter side, this side's the darker side. When you're doing the mouth of the bowl, or where you're going to be able to put something inside because it is a vessel and it holds something, the light is actually going to hit this side of the inside of the vessel, and the darker side is going to be this side because you're not seeing the light on that edge. So what we want to do is we want to reverse the inside of our vessel to have the lighter side over here and the darker side over here. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of this more intense blue color, and I'm just going to kind of get this on here, like so. Then I'm going to wash all the color out of my brush, and I'm just going to kind of pull it across to have the lighter side on the other side. Now it looks like it is three-dimensional, and you could actually put something inside of it. When you're doing the folds, what we want to think about is the different colors. I want to do a white fold, but I'm going to use blues and purples to kind of create those different shadows that we might get. So I'm going to just kind of take a little bit of purple, and I'm just going to kind of swoosh it across like so. And then I'm going to say I'll take a little bit of blue, and I'm going to do a little bit of an intense kind of color here, maybe up across this top where there might be some folds in here, like so. Then I'm going to rinse my brush out, and I'm going to use just kind of a dry, moist, clean brush to start just blending out a little bit on these edges so it kind of looks like it's fading out from so you kind of are getting that effect of that, where you're starting to get some shadows and some shades and some actual looking like it's draping a little bit. So you kind of come back through and then just soften it all up by just swooping along to create those different draping effects.